Hey, welcome back to Right Media Group Chronicles. We are keeping it real, sharing fresh ideas, and giving you the fuel to keep moving forward. Let's jump in.
Welcome to today's episode. For those of you just joining the podcast, we are Right Media Group and specialize in helping marketing agencies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your agency business to the next level, make sure to stick around. I'm excited to welcome Rebekah, the founder of Unita Marketing. Rebekah, would you mind to introduce yourself and tell us a little about Unita Marketing?
Yes, first, I would like to congratulate you for pronouncing it correctly. That is the biggest challenge for
Yeah, I
most
tripped up a
people.
little bit there. I had a drink and he was trying to come back up.
Yes, normally, I have to coach people to remember to pronounce it. You say, you need a marketing consultant or you need a marketing partner. And that's really,
Okay.
yeah, it kind of helps people remember how to pronounce it. But yeah, congrats. That's a great way to start this conversation off. I'm really excited to be here and I thank you for having me.
Would you mind to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Unita Marketing? So exactly what you do in the agency space.
Yeah, absolutely. At Uni Marketing, we are a full service, full scale marketing agency. Really anything you need in terms of your digital online presence or, your physical presence at like a trade show or being able to hand out, business cards and brochures and all of that. We can handle all of that for you. We really love to work with clients from the very beginning when they have like their business idea. We help them even
Mhm.
name their business. And we, develop all their branding, develop their web presence, including their website and their social media platforms. But everything that we do is through the lens of search engine optimization. So even the way we help you name your business, for example, we're thinking strategically about making sure not only that you show up in rankings online, but that you are clear and concise and people understand what you're offering, even from business name. For example, you need to marketing, you've got the idea that I'm going to help you with your marketing needs versus just naming it something like purple flower.
Mhm.
But Unita shows a little bit of my personality. My Italian roots, Unitas means unity in Italian. So basically what we're doing is we're providing marketing for everyone, regardless of the size and scale of your business.
Is that where the Unity comes into play?
Yes, and I also just believe deeply that, divided we fall, united we stand and divided we fall, and that we're not all that different, and that, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to take care of our families and
Yeah, that's
do what's right and do what's best. And so I'm always striving for unity in every aspect of my life, not just professionally, but for me, it's more of an important word now than ever. And I'm proud that,
Mhm.
that's been my business name for a long time, but it's something I deeply believe in, that we're all not that different.
So you have a little bit of Italian roots in your family. Is that where the name making came from?
Yeah, yeah, it's the name is a crazy story. I own a small yoga business as well. It's called Unita Yoga.
Lovely.
Yeah, and so not that far of a reach from Unita Marketing. When I started the marketing agency a few years after starting the yoga business, I really deeply enjoyed the word Unita and enjoyed the branding that we created, and just decided that again that they're not that different from one another. We bring our yoga philosophy into what we do with as a marketing agency, and we really try to give each one of our clients a bear hug approach in both our yoga business and our marketing agency, just making sure that we're all encompassing, meeting all of the needs of each one of our clients. But yeah, the name, I wanted an Italian word because when you're naming a yoga business, it's really hard not to infringe on trademark with all the different
Ah.
yoga studios around. So I was just, every name I came up with, I thought it was so great. And somebody else had already come up with that name. And I just really wanted something unique. And so I thought, you know what, let me use an Italian word. And that way I don't have to worry about infringing on anyone else's business name. And I'm also representing, where my father's family came from. And my family is, we have a strong association with our Italian roots and we're proud of them. And I love cooking Italian. And one of the fun
Really?
yeah,
Wow. I love visiting Italy. I have to say the food is absolutely amazing. I
and
love having.
I'm not a an Italian chef by any stretch, but I love being in the kitchen. I apply my creativity in the kitchen, and it's kind of a fun side fact is that each one of our clients with Unita Marketing can practice yoga for free with Unita Yoga, which is kind of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, but then also around the holidays, instead of, your typical corporate gifting, they receive like a home cooked meal, an Italian meal from me. So from me to them, and I
Wow.
deliver it and, just with so much love
That's
in
nice.
my
I love
heart.
that. That's definitely it does feel like that unity in play.
That's what we're going for. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And regarding the approach, you mentioned the bear hug, as you like to say. So, what does that personalized VIP service look like in practice?
Wow, it's all encompassing.
Uh-huh.
We only onboard one client at a time
Uh-huh.
because that's the only way that we've found that we can really give the curated approach that's so important to the foundation of our agency. So when we take on a new client, before we even take on the new client, we make sure that we're a good fit for that client. We meet with them and just feel them out for what they need,
Mhm.
combined with before we even meet with them, we kind of see what they've got going on and kind of identify some areas where we could be of help. And we take that meeting just as an initial discussion of where their pain points are versus where our recommendations are and try to get us on somewhat of the same page. And then we follow that first meeting with a second meeting that's a custom curated proposal that, I mean, it's literally tailored specific to their needs. I don't have one client that has the same package or proposal as another. Every single client's completely unique
Okay,
in
yeah.
the onboarding experience and the implementation and the, ongoing marketing that we provide. And then as far as the onboarding itself, that really depends. It can be, like I said, the most exciting thing for us, it's like Christmas morning when somebody says, I have an idea. I'd like to start this business, right? Then we can just go ground up, do everything exactly the right way from that optimization lens point, but then also we inherit clients who have just a tangled web of a mess. Just maybe they went maybe they went like a cheaper route for their web design and they're dealing with a website that's not meeting their needs. And maybe they have no idea who created what and the logins are all over the place. And they've got 5 different Facebook pages. I mean, so
Wow.
sometimes we're untangling messes. And I would say oftentimes, not really sometimes, and usually somewhere in between, where they're like, oh, I've got a little bit of this and I lost that and I don't know where that is, but yeah, this website's okay, I think, but it's not really showing up, and we just take it depends on where we're starting as far as the onboarding goes. And some of our clients want different levels of involvement. So sometimes there's more of a training component, particularly with
Mhm.
restaurants and bars that we work with. They have people in-house who can kind of take over, but we just need to kind of fix everything, get everything laid out for them on a silver platter. This is what you need to be doing. And then we train their team to handle their ongoing marketing needs to keep it all in-house and keep their overhead as low as possible. And then other clients who, within 3 to 6 months are so busy that we can't even get a response email from them. And we're handling
Yeah.
100% of all of their, and it's just everything in between. So it really just
Yeah.
depends.
No, like, yeah, we briefly touched point as well how important that client communication is, especially as soon as they've been onboarded. You do need information. You can't just go off and shoot all the advertisement on your own accord. You do need some kind of so you need to know about your target audience, who exactly it is that they're wanting to speak to. So I do understand how important that client communication is. In regards to, obviously, you mentioned you have every client onboarding is different because I think it depends on what type of service each business has. So it's like you mentioned to me previously, you have such a range of service, and we'd be here all day just trying to list them out. But it's like, how exactly do you realize what the customer needs? Like, what is your process to identifying that? Is that just the communication?
So determining what one thing that they all have in common is that they want to grow their business. They're not going to
Yes.
call me in the first place if they don't want to grow. And actually, even that's not true, actually, because I do have clients that are growing, but just need me to untangle a mess for them
Uh-huh.
or just want me to take over what they're already doing because they've gotten too busy to maintain. Most of the time, they need help growing, right? And so they have that in common. So yeah, kind of on the front end, we identify number one, what do you do, right? Number two, who do you do it for? Like who's your audience, right? And then once we determine that, then we kind of can apply our own research efforts to figure out what are those people typing into Google to connect with businesses like
Mm.
yours. And then once we determine what people are typing into Google, then we figure out how to help you show up in those searches instead of your competitors. So it's kind of we start with client communication, we combine that with a little bit of research, and then we further communication with the client. There's a middle layer too. Like once I've done all my research, I kind of create a strategy and then I go back to the client and say, how am I doing? Does this all jive with everything you're doing? This is my best, but I'm not inside your head just yet. I'm trying to get inside your head. And there's discussion back and forth. And then once it's all agreed, then we kind of implement the on-page SEO for their existing site or their site that we're in the middle of developing, whichever it may be. And then we kind of have a publishing schedule that we create that helps meet those needs in an ongoing capacity. And then beyond that, it really is dictated by results, right? We've got to, if you're not checking your results, if you're not seeing what's working and what's not working, you're missing a huge part of the puzzle. So what we do is we report to our clients what we found in their reporting, and we take all the numbers and all the charts. We send them over, of course, but we actually translate those reports for the clients, help them understand what they're looking at and what conclusions we've drawn from those reports, and make sure that they're comfortable with us implementing the changes that we recommend. And that's kind of how we just continue on working with these clients and continuing the communication.
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit if that's okay, Rebekah.
Sure.
So if you're in that situation where you need to have that final confirmation from your client, but unfortunately you're struggling to get on a call with them or any sort of communication, what do you do? What is kind of like your steps in the process then? Because you need an answer, isn't it, in order to launch and to get results for the client. But that communication isn't there.
Yeah. So you mean on the front end, like when I'm still onboarding?
Well, no, you're already on board. Well, pretty much, yeah. But you said when you're on the launching stage, like launching the service, and you kind of have that message, but you're not exactly sure if you're at the right angle, shall we say.
Yeah, so that's more in the onboarding process. I find I don't really have too much trouble with the communication piece on the front end because I think it's really important that we set expectations before we initiate a relationship. I let the potential client at that point, at the very beginning, I let them know I'm going to need a lot from you in this first month. I'm going to need a lot of information. I'm going to need a lot of feedback. And if you know that this is not a really busy time of year for you, that perhaps we wait a month or two to initiate this relationship so that you're not investing in something that you don't have time to invest in, right? I don't want you to financially invest and then have it wait, right? And drag it out. I really don't have a lot of trouble on the front end typically. When I tend to have trouble is when they're getting results and they're really busy and we're trying to continue working. That's when we really have a trouble with communication. And we call that something we have a few clients that are we've been working with them for 3 years at this point. They trust us and they literally, I think they look at the content they just glance through it, make sure, and they don't even reply to us. So we've changed our language from those clients to say, please don't hesitate to let us know if you'd like for us to make any changes. We plan to move forward in the following capacity. We just inform them and they will let us know if they have an issue. Right. But even that response of looks good. I mean, some of our clients just don't have time. They're just not, they're just, and they
But
trust us.
I would even say that sort of client not communicating is, yeah, I know you got it under control. I'm going to leave it to you. I know you're going to achieve me results. So that's a sort of good ending. I know you still want that communication, but that's kind of like they trust you. So in my
Yeah,
opinion,
and again, even that is agreed upon. So everything like
yeah.
that, every aspect of each client relationship is unique. Most of our clients reply to us in some capacity. It is very normal for us to have to send reminder emails and things of that nature. I would say 85% of our clients respond to us, right? Or we do not move forward. We just keep hammering them and just saying, hey, we can't move forward. The language gets a little more urgent. The first email might just be like, hey, let us know when you get a chance. And then a week later, it might say something like, just, we can't move forward with this, and then if it's the day before we're supposed to go live with something, we might say, we'd like to go live with this tomorrow, but we are waiting for your approval. And maybe the subject is pending approval, time sensitive, something like that. So that's kind of how we encourage the communication. But we've actually found we have about 10% of our clients who ignore all of our emails. And the day before something's supposed to go out, we send everything 2 weeks ahead. We give live links 2 weeks before we push to socials. Any content development that we create, we give 2 weeks for them to review before we make it live. So everything's always 2 weeks ahead. And then we always give them the next topic, asking, do they want to weigh in? Do they have any notes? Everything always 2 weeks of response. But if we get to that day before we're taking a live link to socials and they still haven't responded, we find that just a quick text message that says, hey, we're pushing this to your socials tomorrow. Will you please take a quick look and make sure you're comfortable? All you have to do, a thumbs up from you denotes we're ready to go. And they'll thumbs up that post They'll thumbs up that text.
I see.
It's like, it's such a funny thing that it doesn't take any longer really to hit reply and say, looks
Yeah.
good, but we get better response rates through text. We don't like to communicate primarily through text. It's less professional. I like having a record via email, but I do find when you're under the gun and you know that the client wants you to stay on track and you know they're just really busy and bogged down, at that point, we just give them one piece, that says like, hey, will you take a look at this live link? Thumbs up. We move
Yeah,
forward.
that barely like any effort to do, isn't it? Just to put a thumbs up on it. But we all know like how busy founders get as well. And who is it that you primarily deal with in with your clients? Is it the founder or is it somebody else in the team?
It's the founder.
It is the founder. Yeah.
Yes,
So
we deal primarily with
I'm not
owners. Yeah.
surprised. Yeah, yeah. You're a founder yourself, so you must know how busy things can get.
But yeah, my team, they'll send me an email and ask me to take a look at something without a link, and I write them back and say, "You've got to send me the link." We're talking 100 emails a day
Wow.
here. You've got to send me the link. I'm not going to go looking for it. And I communicate that to my team. We've got to spoon feed them
Hmm.
minimal information. We never send 2 blocks of content at once. Just there's a live link and a block of content once every 2 weeks for them to take a look at. And they have 2 weeks to look at it, and that works well. We used to communicate with them weekly, with a live link and then a block of content the next week. And I'm like, no, let's keep it to once every 2 weeks. They can take their time looking at it. We can send the same email a week later if they haven't heard. So we've learned to kind of minimize communications because of how busy they are, but also manage their expectations going into the relationship. Like at this first month, I am going to bother you. I'm going to bother you a lot. And if it's not a good time for me to bother you, then let's not begin because I'm going to bother you.
Yeah, I think it's very wise to have that communication in the beginning, setting the standards of what is expected from them in order
Mhm.
for you to achieve the results. Because I'm sure we've all been there from the beginning where things just don't go as planned, and because we didn't set that standard, unfortunately, we lose a client later down the line because there wasn't any effort put in from their side, which is why you couldn't achieve the results you could have potentially.
Right. Right. Yeah. I've one little trick I've learned is to ask for their consent to record any conversation I get with them,
Mhm.
even if it's just a quick phone call, because ultimately when you know their business and you know their market, any conversation can turn into information that turns into a blog post. So anytime they're taking time out to meet with me, I can take a 10-minute meeting and turn that into 3 blog posts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, because they
that's
just
a good
share
approach. Yeah.
they share pain points, they share, like, industry trends without even realizing what they're doing. They're giving us more information than because they're calling to impart something to us that we did not already know, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be bothering to call us.
Mhm.
So anything new, I'm gonna record it and I'm gonna use it.
No, that's a good approach. Like hats down to you for sure. So in regards to your team, I think we touched point a little bit that your daughter is a designer in your team
Yes.
as well. So how do you think that unique dynamic strengthens your teamwork?
The dynamic meaning working with family members.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it goes even deeper than that. My daughter works from her apartment across town. My husband works for the company from this desk right here. 3 feet away. So we are literally 3 feet apart all day long, and
Yeah.
he's our CTO. So that dynamic is very different than the dynamic with my daughter. The dynamic with my daughter is fabulous. We get to, I mean, how many moms of 22-year-old, 23-year-old, young adults get to interact with their daughter on a daily basis? You know,
I know, right?
it's
Thinking of that.
incredible. Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't have, she didn't have any plan of working for the company, and I didn't have any plan of hiring her. We brought her on as an intern in January to give her experience, and she loved the work so much, and we loved having her so much that we kept adding more and more to her intern plate, right? Which quickly turned into a full-time position. By the time she graduated, she was buried in work and she's just eating it all up. She just absolutely loves the work. She thought she was going to be a full-time web developer,
Mm.
and she ended up loving the agency experience and having, every day brings a new challenge. And, she still really, really enjoys designing websites, but we're not always designing a website. Sometimes we're
Mhm.
designing a logo, and sometimes we're working on blog content, and sometimes we're, refreshing a site or just making site changes. But we're able to just throw all those things that, as marketing agency representatives, you and I both know we're in the back end of websites all day long, right? We've got an extensive amount of design experience ourselves, but I didn't realize how much time I was spending as not being a web developer myself. It takes me 20 minutes to figure out how to fix this one little thing, and it takes me 30 seconds to email her, and it takes her 90 seconds to fix it, right? So it's just so much more efficient to say everything that's not, simple that you don't already know to do, just send it to her. And if it's something that we need to learn as a skill, we jump on a meeting, she screen shares with us, she teaches us how to implement these changes moving forward so we can learn. And it's wonderful. And it's also really unique in that she and I both went to UNC Chapel Hill, the journalism and mass communications school specifically. So there's this school within UNC Chapel Hill there's a focus of marketing and advertising, which is where I focused, and she was in the web design concentration. So we both have these unique concentrations which work really well together, but we both have this journalism and mass communications background where, I mean, I think it's either number one or number two consistently for the last 10 years in the entire world. I mean, it's a phenomenal
Wow.
school. And so
Yeah.
I graduated feeling so well prepared, and having her come in with it's amazing how it didn't really change that much 20 years later.
Yeah.
She's feeling really well prepared, and we have some of these same viewpoints of, for example, if you made one grammatical mistake, it was an F. You would get a 50 on an assignment,
Wow.
any assignment in the journalism
Very high standards then.
because it's, write it 10 times, double check it 20. Like it was just that's the standard. And if you're making a grammatical mistake, you're not doing diligence. And so that's how we have to be. We have
Mhm.
policies built into our agency where nothing goes to a client unless it's gone through two sets of eyes. So one person creates it and two sets of eyes see it after that.
I can see you're very proud that your daughter walked in your footsteps.
Yeah, on her own. It was not her plan.
Really?
She went to UNC Chapel Hill as a freshman thinking she was going to be a pediatric orthopedic surgeon.
Wow, that's a completely
Just
different approach.
She just moved over, she moved to the journalism school thinking, okay, she's always been a writer. Journalism, more like she was thinking maybe she would do some reporting pieces, definitely a novelist at some point, and then she took this web design class, I took it too, and I got through it. She took it and lit a fire under her where she just
Oh, wow.
developed a love that she never would have known was there had she not taken that class, and never looked back. This is 100% what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I hear many business owners struggling with talent acquisition. You were really lucky. I mean, your daughter walked in your own footsteps, so like what she'll provide will be great because your own standards as well. It's not just because she's your daughter. She finished same is a university.
Yes, it's called the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. It's referred to, affectionately over here as UNC Chapel Hill, and
Mhm.
they're really well known for their basketball team. So everybody in America knows them because we've won the national championships a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It must be great for you as well to have obviously your daughter on. What is her plan long term? Is she thinking to stay with the agency and just grow there?
Hope so. That's the plan for now.
So in regarding to growth, obviously you mentioned about trying to stay boutique because you don't want to grow too much past the point of losing your quality for your
Right.
agency. So how do you still plan to grow? What is your kind of your safe space that you're thinking, yes, I want the agency to, let's say, have an extra 5 clients a month or
That's a great question. One thing I've learned as a business owner is that it's great to make those plans. And it's also really important that we stay nimble and able to pivot
Mhm.
as needed. When I first started the agency, I thought it was going to be just me. I had no intention of hiring. And then I quickly learned that I would like to be able to take a half day or a full day or God forbid a week every once in a while, and realized that was impossible on my own. And also, I was really missing the collaboration that I had when I was with my former agency. Bringing Katie to the team, Katie's like, she was a huge asset to the team. She filled all of that for me. She took over quite a bit of the implementation. She provided that collaboration as needed. And she and I both can take a day as needed. We both have families. We're both moms. She has 2 kids. I have 3. Obviously, my kids are much older and need a lot
Yeah.
less of my time, but it's still, I don't know if you have kids, but top secret, it's still a lot of work. Even when they're older, you're still, they're still really involved in their lives. It gave me such joy to be able to provide a position for Katie, where she has not just flexibility on paper. Where a lot of jobs say that they're flexible, but if you need to go to the dentist or go take your kid something at school, she doesn't need to call and tell me about that. Like, I'm talking real flexibility where we just get the job done, where it's just work whenever you can. Let's make sure we're taking care of our clients. Make sure you show up to meetings that we've scheduled and we're going to be okay. Right. That kind of flexibility. I love the format that we've all worked within, where we work within the time frame that works best for us. It gives that ultimate flexibility as moms who are really active participants in our family to be able to take vacations, to be able to take field trips, to be able to go to the dentist without apologizing to anyone for caring for our family. So that's kind of what inspired me to bring Katie to the team. And I was intentional about bringing, like, I wanted to empower women. I was like, hey, let's bring a strong marketing. She's came to us with 20 years of marketing experience. So there wasn't a whole lot of like marketing training. Of course, there was unique to marketing where, this is how we're going to do things here. But yeah, she's got that marketing brain already, which was just fabulous. And I could really rely heavily on her from day one. And I had, after hiring Katie, I thought, okay, that's it. That's it. Right. But then bringing Zoe on as an intern, I thought, oh, this is great. All this work that I was outsourcing before, if we bring her in full time, we don't have to outsource. And wouldn't that be incredible? And we need, any agency which I would say all agencies, we're trying to keep up with trends and technology and all that's changing. So bringing somebody young into the team was just a no-brainer. Having that fresh influx of young information, all that she knows about social media, all that she knows about AI, all these tools, project management platforms, just all kinds of fresh information that she's coming from the university with has just injected the team with all kinds of new info. So she was a no-brainer as well. And my husband kind of came on in the same capacity. I was outsourcing my domain hosting, all my IT management, like, all my email workspace issues, all that techie stuff. That's just a totally different side of your brain. That's his side of the brain, right? That's how he operates.
Wow. So
So
did he
he's
already
been in
have
the
knowledge in the industry? So it's kind of like it's like a puzzle and you have all the pieces just finally fitting in together. It's just
Right.
incredible.
Right. So it's kind of like before it was all working because I was using outsourced tools. And now it's just like I can't imagine any piece of the puzzle going away. But at the same time, I do feel like at this point we are all encompassing. So the intention was never to grow and grow and grow. And that's still not the intention. However, my intention is to help small businesses grow. So clients, potential clients come to me looking for help. My goal is to never say no, right? To be able to say, yes, we'd be happy to help you. To manage our workflow, it might be a month or two until we can get started, but my goal is to never say no. So if it required to bring on new team members at some point, I'm not, I've learned to not say never, right? It's not my intention, but at the same time, I want to be able to do whatever the company needs. So we'll kind of see. You have to check back with me in a year or so.
Yeah, you want to stay open-minded from what I gather.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, it's the same thing like you said, like you started on your own and you thought it's only going to be you. And then suddenly your family slowly but surely like gets onboarded into your team as well. So never say never, right?
Right. Exactly. You never know what's around the corner.
So in regards to obviously you mentioned that it'd be great to take on more clients, even though, like with the deliveries as well. Do you use automation to get rid of some of the more manual tasks that take time to improve your efficiency as well?
We are looking into project management tools right now to
Okay.
help streamline our, just our everyday operations. And I do think that we are not utilizing all that we could be. So I've got my husband on that. That's his side project right now
Ah, okay, I see.
is feeling, how we can streamline our operations through automation. Right now, our workflows are working for us really well, but it's a little bit tedious in that, like, when I'm updating one piece of content, I have to update it in 3 places. So when I'm saying this live link is now approved, I'm having to say it's approved in 3 different places versus I update it here and it automatically updates to the other 2, and that extra 15 seconds, 15 times a day, it adds up,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's
right?
it's still that kind of manual concept there, even though you have these workflows in place to automate certain things. So, what type of workflows are you currently implemented into your business that are like literally a time saver?
what kind of workflow? Kind of speaking like the operations side of things, is that what you're talking
Okay.
about? Yeah. We're not really utilizing any automation.
No.
That's what I think is slowing us down a little bit. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, I
that's
see.
what we're trying to implement automation on that side of things.
I would say it's overwhelming, if anything, because there's so many new tools coming out every single day, and I'm like, "What about the other one that came out yesterday? Is that any good?" Now I've got this new one
Right.
to focus on, so it's like, where do you go? But like you said, you've got your husband on the go.
Yeah, it's that there's always new and exciting tools to look at, and it's also that what we're doing is working, and so taking the time out of the business operations to implement a new tool feels overwhelming to try to bring everything and put it over into a new platform and to learn it. We do, as a business, we close 1 week a year in July just so that everyone can rest. And we close 2 weeks in December, the weeks that involve Christmas and New Year's. We just closed down as a company. We find our clients in the past that, that it's very hard to get business done during that time. It's communication is at a standstill. We feel bad communicating with clients because we know they're with their families and busy celebrating. So we just found that's a great time for us to close down and rest and rejuvenate and do all those things. But our goal this year is to use that 2 weeks at the end of December to make the change. So we're
Ooh,
deciding, I know, we're gonna do it. We're gonna pull the plug and do it. Which scares me because everything changes in our industry constantly, and we're constantly having to evolve to change that we don't get to choose. So changing something by choice feels really
it's scary.
it just feels like, "Oh, but this is working and everybody knows how to use it," and it's a little bit tedious, but I also know that we've got to streamline our operations because that is not improving our client interactions. That's not improving the quality of our work. That's just slowing us down, right? So that's the kind of thing where it's like, we need to use automation there. Maybe less so like, one thing that might surprise you that I don't automate is lead flow drip email campaigns. I do not do that at all. And I'm probably one of the only agencies that don't do that. But any email that my clients get is coming from me. It's a real email
Okay.
that I decided I would like to email this person. And I compose an email with my own language and hit send. And that's important to me. To me, it's if I say I'm going to be boutique and custom curated and, every client is VIP, I don't want them receiving automated emails from me. I don't want
Mhm.
them receiving copy and paste emails. I want them to receive me and my attention. And likewise, because of the way we onboard with such zest, I would say, with just all encompassing. I mean, it is so much to onboard a new client to Unique to Marketing's workflow. I'm not going after 10, 20 new clients a month. That's just not the
Mm.
volume that I want. So I'm nurturing real relationships. So the way that we get new clients is not by sending out mass emails and, with a bunch of follow-ups every 2 weeks, every 1 week, every this and that. I know how to schedule those. And when my clients ask me to do it, we talk about, depends on what they're looking for. But what I recommend is that you get in front of your clients and you build real relationships when you're in my kind of industry where it's quality over quantity. We're able to get to know people and really see, sometimes I get to know people and they don't need anything from me. They're already working with someone or they just want to pick my brain and get some ideas. And I'm happy to give away information to them because I genuinely care about people and just helping them grow. And then they need something down the road and maybe they think of me and then maybe they call me and ask me to help them with whatever it is. But just getting in front of the kinds of clients that we want to bring in and building that relationship with them so that when they are ready to move forward with an agency, maybe they think of me. Um, and I'll send them an email once in a while, but yeah, it's a very different way of doing business.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially nowadays, I'd say, because I mean, like, I spoke to this other agency owner, and he mentioned he sends out 10 also hyper personalized emails. He doesn't believe in the cold email outreach because it hasn't worked for him, unfortunately. And my kind of answer to that, or question really to you, Rebecca, is what are the responses you get? Because I know it's hyper personalized and they might have a connection with you, but as we discussed, business owners are also very busy. So it's like, do they still have a time even though you have that hyper personalized email? Do you still get good responses?
Yes and no. What
Uh,
I've learned is I do not want to enter a relationship with someone who does not want to enter a relationship with me, right? So,
okay.
and the way we partner with our clients, it is a partnership, where I'm excited, you're excited, we're going to work together, right? It's not um it's It's nothing but that. So just like any other business, it's all about meeting that person at the right time when they're looking for the services that you offer, right? That's the definition of search engine optimization. I don't know what it is in Merriam-Webster's dictionary, but what it really is connecting the person with your business at the right time when they're looking for your business online, right? So those emails are the same way. When I meet somebody at a networking event, for example, and I enjoy speaking with them and I like their personality and I feel like we would be a good fit, right? I feel like I could actually help that person, right? Then before I even send an email, I go and check out what they're doing. If I see that they're blogging every week or two and they're pushing to their socials and they've got like a really good their website's optimized and all that, I'm going to send them an email that says, "Hey, your online presence looks fantastic. Feel free to share any of your secrets with me and please tell whoever's doing this work for you that they're doing a great job. It was wonderful to meet you. Let me know if I can help in any way." Right? Just genuinely from the bottom of my heart, you don't need me, but if you ever do, please feel free to give me a call. Sometimes I look at these clients, that potential clients that I meet, and it's really, really bad, right? I mean, it's really bad. And so then
What do you say then? You can't say, "Oh, it looks brilliant."
exactly. So then the email is a little bit different, right? Then the email might be something like, "Hey, I really enjoyed meeting you today. If you are ever considering a new website or any, if you want any help with your social media, kind of more specific, like, here's some ways we can help you, right? I'd love to sit down and talk with you. Here's a meeting invite link, blah, blah, blah." That kind of, a nice little closing. Either way, whether we ever see one, whatever, something nice. And typically it's somewhere in between where they've got like a little bit of here, a little bit of that, like a decent site that I could maybe work on, work within the framework of. And then it's just, "Hey, I really enjoyed meeting you. If there's anything you ever need, please feel free to reach out. Hope to see you at the next event on blankety blank date," or whatever it may be. Just kind of initiating that relationship, recognizing that's probably a great client for me. But at the same time, I'm not going to be one of those people because I don't know about you, but like my inbox is full of people trying to sell me stuff all day long. And I just,
Ultimately.
yeah, it's not that we're not looking for new business. It's not that we're not open to new business, but we are pleasantly busy and we are okay. And I'm not churn and burn. That's not what we're doing here. We are forming real strategic,
Real relationships as
real
well.
relationships and partnerships. And, I never want anyone to feel pressured to enter that relationship. I want them to come in, arms open, eyes open, feeling great about it from the beginning, middle, and, hopefully there is no end.
Unfortunately, I think we are now in an era where buy from me, this is the services I provide, no longer works just because, like you mentioned, our inbox is already full enough. We're not interested in another service, but you talk about what you can provide. That approach, unfortunately, strategy, I think that's gone out of the window nowadays. You need to have a value proven approach, something they're interested in, something you provide for them. Otherwise, or educational content. Otherwise, you're just not going to stand out from the rest of the people in the inbox.
Yeah, we have worked really hard this year on that was something I was committed to doing this year and we're doing a pretty good job of it, I would say. We've got some room for growth, but providing more educational content. We've gotten really serious about our blogging where we're actually giving away really valuable information in our blogs. We've
What are you
created
giving away? Let's tell for the audience. Maybe they're interested.
yeah, just unitamarketing.com,
Mhm.
unity with an A instead of a Y is the Unita, marketing.com. If you go to our blog, you'll see all kinds of information about how to help you rank better online. Most of it's through the lens of search engine optimization, but some of it's more general. Everything from implementing SSL to making sure your site's secure to local searches with Google My Business, which are now Google Business profiles. But
Wow.
yeah,
No, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely link the websites below as well, so they obviously can go to the right place.
yeah. And for anybody who's watching this who's local to the North Raleigh Wake Forest area, I'm starting an educational series in November where I'm actually going to be teaching people in person. We're going to do a series of 4 1-hour workshops. We're going to cover everything so that they could potentially, I want them to have like an overall lens of an entire marketing scape for their business. I'm calling it Marketing Blueprint. I believe it's still in works, but yeah, committed to like that actually teaching local business owners how they can help themselves and how also where you shouldn't help yourself. Like there's certain areas where you should not do, for example, your logo and web design. That is an area where you should not do it yourself. And your SEO strategy, probably not do it yourself. But the implementation, maybe you can do that yourself and save some money, right? So there's certain ways, what can you DIY, what can you not DIY, and how to measure results, all these little things. I'm just giving it all away
I
And what
mean,
the
these workshops sound absolutely incredible. When are you going to be launching them again?
hopefully mid-November. It's still in production right now. I just sent over another email this morning to the team who's promoting, and I'm letting them know, hey, how does this look? So it's not too official yet, but I did just come up, with the outline, the dates, and all that. So I wish I had that completely ready for you. By the time this podcast goes live, I will have all the information. I'd be happy to send that to you.
Yeah, no,
Because the
absolutely.
the other cool thing about it is we're gonna video it, and we're gonna
Yeah.
make the link available after the workshops. So and I'll be giving away a ton of information in those workshops with the idea that, most people are too busy to keep up with this stuff, but more power to you. If you can do it yourself, go for it, do your best, and, if you get too busy, you know who to call.
Yeah,
That's the
no,
idea.
absolutely. No, that's great. No, I think it's absolutely incredible providing that value to, business owners that do want to maybe do it in-house, or if they're looking for somebody who they can hire. Obviously, Rebecca's here as well. So looking ahead, obviously in the next 6 to 12 months, what is your plan with the agency? I mean, we touched point a little bit on that educational content that you're really trying to get that out there and making sure that you come across as the lead or you're providing value to business owners. And a little bit on workflows. Is there anything else in the books for you, Rebecca?
Yeah, we're working right now. We're in development of a portfolio section of our site. That now that we have an in-house web designer, we can kind of add all the bells and whistles to our site that we've always wanted to have. So she's working on she's actually, to be completely honest, she's waiting on me for numbers.
I see.
She's actually completely done with the design and has been done with the design, but it takes some input from me that I have not done. But that's coming soon, a whole
Mhm.
portfolio section to the site. So you can see some of the sites that we've developed, some of the work that we're doing, some of the real changes that we've been able to make. It's something I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to tell our clients stories too.
Hmm.
And this gives us an opportunity to highlight some of our clients and tell, what was their pain point? How did we help them? Where are they
That
now?
sounds very powerful.
Yeah.
Are you at the stage of getting approval from your clients right now, or they already gave you the go ahead?
It's a win-win for them because it's providing backlinks for them. So that's an easy sell. No, I'm at the point now where I need to sit down and gather the information.
Yeah.
She's created everything for me. So literally all I have to do is plug in numbers and plug in the story. As you probably know, the shoemaker shoes have the worst shoes, right? One of
Mm.
the one of the first reasons I brought Katie on was because I was not doing any marketing for You Niche Marketing.
I
The
see.
socials were empty, the
Yeah.
blogs were empty because it was always just last on the list. And this is a perfect example of that. Everything is done except for the one tiny piece that requires my input, and it's always last on my list because my clients are always first. And
Yeah.
so when that day comes and I have time to put You Need to Marketing first, it
Mhm.
will happen. It'll be all in one day. It'll go live probably. But
Yeah. No,
um
that's great. Yeah, because I have heard as well from other agency owners because you're so kind of keen on delivering for your clients because you're like, oh, I've got him, and now I just want to get the best results. I really want to help them to grow into their business with their clients, with their revenue. Where kind of your agency goes on the back end of the
exactly.
priority task, unfortunately. But then again, they're talking about having a scare in the situation where sometimes, as soon as you onboard a client, they can leave. And they got to the point where they only got left with 2 clients. So they had to really focus on the pipeline quickly. Otherwise, they end up going back to corporate. So there's a lot of scenarios. I would say it's very much so also a priority to put your agency first
Yes. Yes, you're
from that
absolutely
advice.
right. And to any agency owner trying to do it on their own, just
Oof.
stop trying. You're not gonna do it. You've gotta bring in help. You've gotta
Yeah.
be able to have a person that you can say, "I need you to do this. I need you to talk about this," and where you can just talk and give them all the information, and they can put it out there for you, and then you just edit it.
Yeah.
That's how Katie does all of our blogs. She's incredible at taking my blah, 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 brain all over the place and bringing it
Ideas.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, she I mean, she tightens it up and it puts it in a beautiful package and, sends it over to me and I'm continually impressed. I'm like, "This is fantastic." Like, I'm so happy to put my name on this. Thank you.
Yeah, I also hear a lot of concern with agency owners in regards to delegation. It seems like you've got that down in regards to what you have at your agency. Do you have any advice for other business owners out there how how can you delegate? Because sometimes they don't feel, when you're hogging something, you're like, I'm going to be the best at delivering this. I really don't want to give it to somebody else, but I have to in order to grow and to focus on the
Yes.
business strategy.
It's such a challenge, and I feel like
Yeah.
I would be a hypocrite if I was giving advice because I could use some advice in this category. I will say when I look back 2 years ago to where I am today, I couldn't be here. I mean, no question, right?
Yeah.
I had hit a ceiling, and that ceiling was so much lower than where we are now. We were meeting so many fewer clients' needs. And if you don't delegate, you hit that ceiling a lot sooner, right? And you can't move and you can't grow. Or you grow and implode and
Mm.
you know, I always look at it as like most of us, we've waited tables. Many of us have waited tables, right? And so you're carrying these trays and you just put one more thing on it and the whole thing falls, right? And that's how it feels as an agency owner is like you want to do everything yourself. Of course you want to do everything yourself. That's the only way you could be 100% certain that the quality is there is if you're doing it yourself. But the reality is if the whole tray can fall, right? So what you learn to do is you load the trays and you delegate who's carrying what tray. And our job as agency owners is to make sure that nobody's tray is too full, right?
I love that analogy. It's
Yeah,
great.
so it's, we're not trying to carry everything, but we're deciding who's carrying what. And what I try to put on my tray is exclusively things that are, I'm the last set of eyes, right? For everything, right?
Overseeing
I'm that
everything.
last
Yeah.
set. So before it goes to a client, I've had eyes on every single piece of anything. And if we grow to a point where I can't look at that much, then that's our stopping point because that's where I'm unwilling to compromise. I need eyes on it. If I haven't seen it, I don't want it out there because my name's on it at the end of the day,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Right. But do I need to be the first set of eyes? No, I don't. I don't need to be the first set of eyes. So there can be an editing process that goes on without my knowledge and where the challenge for optimization is, once you've got this SEO brain, getting your team to have the SEO brain, that's a little bit of a challenge. So
Mhm.
one way I've tackled that is I'm the first touch point and the last touch point, and everything in the middle is out of my hands. So what I mean by that is I hold close, near and dear to me. The other thing I refuse to outsource is reporting. And that's how I maintain that close connection with each one of our clients is I'm pulling all of their reports. I'm interpreting all of that data and any part of the report pulling that I can automate, that I can not automate, but outsource, I do. I absolutely like the keyword search auditing. I'm very particular about my keyword search auditing. I know we have all kinds of tools where we can automate keyword search audits. And I use those tools as a quick snapshot for trends, but we manually pull the keywords that matter most to our clients. We manually pull them so we can see not only what number we're showing up in organic, but also where we're showing up in Google business profiles and also how we're showing up. Are the right images pulling in? Do we have structured data? Do we have site links? Is an old link that's being redirected still pulling in? What needs to change? So there's certain things you can only get from a manual keyword search audit process, but that was the hardest thing for me to outsource, believe it or not, and it's the most tedious. It's the longest, it's the most time consuming, and my way of getting around that was my black and white IT techie guy right here that works 3 feet from me. He does them for me only when I'm sitting here. Like literally, that's the only way I was able to outsource that. I was like, okay, I want to be right next to you when you do that. So, like I always tell them, if you get too busy and we have to outsource this to someone else, we're going to have to pull up a seat for them in this room. And I have a desk right behind me. They're going to have to come in-house because I want to know everything weird. Anything that doesn't look exactly right. I want to know anything that's dropping, anything that's going up. I want to know all the things and be able to answer any questions right on the spot so we can address it. To me, it's like an emergency when something's pulling in incorrectly. It's like, let's fix that right away, re-index it with Google, whatever we need to do. So that was the hardest piece. But yeah. So anyway, going back to my point, in that reporting, I take all the trends and what needs to be done, and I decide what we're going to be doing for the next 3 months. And I assign keyword optimization. So I'm like, sometimes I have a topic and sometimes I'm like, you can pick the topic, but like we need to go after this keyword phrase. So I'm saying, this is what I want you to optimize for kinds of notes. Usually it's like I've had a conversation with a client and I'll say minute 325, 30 seconds of notes here, or use this, Google Doc or whatever. So I just drop all kinds of notes in there. So I'm basically saying like, talk about this, optimize it for this. And then on the back end, they're creating that content, going back and forth, editing for one another, making sure everything looks good. And then once they're ready, then it gets sent to me. Right. So it's like I'm the first touch point and the last touch point of every piece.
And that's specifically for SEO.
Yes. And most of what we do is kind of from that lens of SEO. Yeah. So to me, the outsourcing that I would recommend first would be the in between, the actual implementation, right? Where you're directing what needs to happen and you're checking to make sure it happened, but the actual happening part you can outsource.
Okay, no, that's brilliant advice for other agency owners out there as well. I'm doing this new thing, something new I'm trying is because obviously I speak to agency owners all the time. Now I'm going to ask you if what question do you have for the next guest I'm going to have on the podcast? It's going to be an agency owner. It could be somebody very successful who's written bestseller books because we've had that before. Or it could be somebody a little bit smaller, who's just starting out. What question would you like me to ask them?
What is the secret to agent engine optimization?
Okay. Okay. No, fair enough. I'll let you know when they answer that as well. So you can keep posted on that
Yes, please.
video. Okay. No, that's awesome. So it sounds like you've had an incredible journey, like so far. If you had a magic wand, hypothetically, that you could get rid of one thing that's slowing you down from achieving your goal in the next 6 to 12 months, what would it be?
Ooh,
Yeah, it really makes you think that one.
I think it'd be the operations piece that we talked about, speeding up the workflow, the part that has nothing to do with the quality of what we're delivering to our clients that's bogging us down,
Hmm.
speeding that piece up. I think that's going to be a huge driver for us.
Sort of implementing that automation, perhaps utilizing the AI.
The project management automation,
Mhm.
yes. That piece of, that we're still holding our clients near and dear and closely reporting and planning and the strategy and the content development is all very hands-on, but the actual communication between the team and how we go through all the steps of that process, cleaning that up. I think that's going to be the key for us.
Yeah, incredible, incredible. Rebekah, if people wanted to find you or learn more about your services, where could they look?
Probably the best thing to do would be to go to the website, unitamarketing.com. It's UNITA marketing.com. On there, you're going to learn about the team. You're going to learn about all the services that we provide. There's contact forms all over the place. You'll see my email address, my phone number, all that good stuff. You could contact us whichever way works best for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for joining this podcast, Rebekah.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.